I was wondering why no one was responding to me, and I'll start this again. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. I know it feels like Monday for many of us. I hope you all took some time yesterday to connect with yourselves, family, friends, your children. Wayne, happy belated Memorial Day. Thank you for your service. Wayne is a veteran, so if anyone else is on here, thank you for your service as well. And it looks like we have a small, intimate group for today. And so, look, we're going to talk about everyone's favorite topic at Compass, three-phase marketing. So I know you've all heard a lot about this in everywhere you go. And we're going to put a little bit of our own spin on this. So let me just share my screen and we shall get started. By the way, for those of you who were here last year, we like doing, for those of us in the summer that still choose to continue, an AI course. So we have built our 3 workshops and we'll have an amazing 3 bonus sessions on using AI this summer. So the first one's going to be on how to program your ChatGPT to think like you, to sound like you, to understand your consumers. The second session is going to be all about how to do property marketing, virtual staging, and create all of your marketing pieces through ChatGPT. The third one is arguably my favorite. I'm going to teach you all how to create endless amounts of video content with never having to be on camera. So it's pretty compelling at the speed that this is all growing. And so here's what I want to tell all of you. If you have not got a $20 paid ChatGPT account, please do so. I choose ChatGPT just because it's like the Apple of AI. It's the easiest to use and it has the most information available on it. But here's the thing. The speed at which AI is moving is the speed of new information, technology that we have never seen in our entire lifetimes. Google released something this past week called VEO3, where you can literally make cinematic grade videos through prompts. It is absolutely insane. So for all of us, this to me is the ultimate equalizer and amplifier. So if you have not started using AI, it's really simple. Instead of scrolling on Instagram or whatever you scroll on or text, or just go on here and spend 15 minutes and just put a bunch of random things in and just see what comes up. I have never taken an AI course in my life, but now people think I'm an AI expert just because I use it all the time, right? And every time we've had trainings lately and there's any kind of AI use case in it, people say that's the part that they enjoyed the most. But it's ultimately something that will create better client experiences, more compelling marketing, increase your operational efficiency, and it's $20 a month, right? This is not something that costs endless thousands of dollars. And the way that I look at it, there are only going to be 2 types of people and businesses in the world: those that use this and those that don't. And the ones that use it, I don't care how successful you are, eventually you're going to fall behind. And this is in its infancies. 77% of adults in America 20 plus years old have not even used ChatGPT. Out of the 23% that did, 92% have not ever put in more than 1 prompt, meaning most people have no idea still what they're doing with this, right? And the people that do are creating compelling information at speeds that we've never imagined. I could create you a 6-month marketing plan with video scripts and everything you've ever imagined in less than 30 minutes. Now think about that, right? It's pretty crazy to even imagine this kind of world, because whether it's brand marketing, client marketing, property descriptions, virtually staging properties, we have clients now that you can literally take a picture of an empty kitchen and then on your phone with the prompt, show somebody what that kitchen will look like with all the upgrades and everything they can that they would desire. Imagine that, right? All right, Compass 3-phase marketing. We have a lot of stuff to get through. So here is a variety of our agenda, but let's get started. The ultimate benefit of 3-phase marketing is to elevate the client's experience, right? You'll win more listings, you'll earn full commissions, you'll create a better client experience, and you'll set yourself apart for the competition. Any person on earth that believes that launching any kind of product, which a home is, without any kind of pre-marketing is better. It's crazy. It's essentially just commoditizing every single one of us because anyone could just dump a property on the MLS, right? So if you look at what the greatest brands in the world do, they do focus groups, right? They do beta testing. They do pre-marketing. Apple, when they do their product launches, you see people take a day off of work and there's a line outside of a store on an iPhone. Or you're trying to buy online and you have to keep refreshing the screen because it's frozen or there are too many people that things sell out. So if you understand how to effectively utilize three-phase marketing, you will win every time. And the part that people don't talk about is there's actual marketing involved in it. We've spent a lot of times as a company talking about the features, the benefits, why it's good for our clients. You have all that stupid Zillow stuff. It's just all noise. And in the end of the day, does anyone know why all these people have so many negative things to say about it? Anybody?
Fear and jealousy.
Fear and jealousy. Yep. And so look, in my perspective, anyone could do three-phase marketing. This is not like some concept that Robert invented out of nowhere. Movies, products, and big companies have been doing this for years. We just have the right infrastructure, agent community, and technology that actually makes it work. So this is the first time in the history of real estate that something provides such a distinct competitive advantage. Now, if you look at anything and you know anything about Compass, private exclusives actually started in 2019 as coming soons. And in 2019, what Robert was saying, and what most people don't know is, did you know at Compass, in the majority of the top 20 metro markets, we have more than 20% market share? So that means if everyone at Compass went through three-phase marketing, 20% or more of the inventory in these markets would only be available on compass.com. That puts an end to Zillow, that puts an end to MLSs. There has nothing that's been such an existential threat to these companies' business models as Compass. And you look at the statistics, right? 81% of listings that were sold without being on the MLS sold at or above the final listing price. Why? Because people are willing to pay for things that are not more for things that are not available to everybody else. I would pay more for a house not to go on to an open market. Who here is a market that has bidding wars? In those markets, you will pay not to be in a bidding war. 100%. So the seller holds all the cards. I always like to joke around and say, I guess nobody told buyers that the new part of home ownership and the dream of owning a home was creating an equal and fair marketplaces where buyers were able to get fair deals on homes. The last time I checked, it's a seller, it's your asset, you hold all the liability. So why wouldn't you want to do everything you can to maximize and optimize demand and ultimately the price of your home? Look, your confidence in being able to communicate this is the gap, right? From your clients having a better outcome and ultimately future-proofing your business. When people talk about this and we go to in-person seminars and workshops and we ask people, like, what do you say? Oh, I put your listing on compass.com as a Compass coming soon. Who cares? Like, nobody cares about that, right? Just like in everything we talk about, we have a more, what I believe is a more thoughtful way of communicating it in the context of why it's important to somebody else. Now, we'll go through this. Some of you have heard this many times before. I'll say this again. Perceived value, actualized value. Perceived value is what we know that we offered. Actualized value is what the client feels that they're getting as a direct result of hiring us for our service. And the gap between perceived and actualized value is visuals and words, right? Why do our value propositions not get fully actualized by our clients? Because many times we're projecting our fear, doubts, and worry onto the client. We talk too much. We think that offering more is always better, and we don't speak to the client's med C, right? So the secret in this is practicing your pitch. You need to be very, very nimble in understanding all of the resources and tools that you have, and in real time being able to adapt those to people's goals, wants, desires, unique situation. Feature, benefit, destination, right? The feature is that we gather valuable feedback. The benefit is we make adjustments before it goes live, right? And ultimately, what is the destination that the client wants? The best first impression, maximize demand, and maximizing the equity in the home. The more that you can talk about Compass three-phase marketing and how it drives the best first impression, how it creates increased demand and ultimately maximizes the equity in their home, the more likely you are to influence them to understand the benefits of your unique positioning model. So if you think about this, what you do and the destination, right? What we do is three-phase marketing, but the destination is a launch strategy to maximize the equity in your home. So if I said to any one of you, would it be okay if I shared with you the exact launch strategy we're going to use to maximize the equity in your home? Who's going to say no? People want launch plans. You guys launch listings, right? We don't just take a listing, rush to get it all done, and then put it on the MLS. I still can never, ever figure out in almost 20 years of being involved in real estate why people are in such a rush. Who here has had a client recently that says, I just got to have my house on the market by this day? Anyone have one of those?
Me, and I can't stand it, and they failed miserably.
Yep. Rachel, why do your clients? So does anyone ever ask why they need it on that property by next Saturday, let's say?
Timing. They want to get it on the market as soon as possible, and they finally moved out, and we're staging it, and like we're staging today, doing photos tomorrow, and on the market on Friday. And I'm like, why don't we just wait a week? And they won't.
So here's a more thoughtful way of saying it. We really want to get on the market this way. And so my answer to them is always be in agreement, right? I'd say, great. So you want to get your house in the market so you can maximize the equity. And they're going to say, yes, Rachel, you get it. I'm going to say, so I'm clear there. I wouldn't say are there. So what are the negative consequences if your house doesn't get on the market on Saturday? They're like, what do you mean negative consequences? Negative consequences, something really bad going to happen? They're going to say no. And then I would say, okay, got it. So there are no negative consequences, but you want to maximize your equity. Yes. Now, here's the pivot statement, right? You're going to say, what do you think, right? Because we want to know what they think in their own words are. What do you think will create the best first impression, maximize demand, and ultimately maximize the equity in your home? And they're going to answer, and they're going to say, is your home your most valuable asset? And they're going to say yes. So you can say it's your most valuable asset. This is what you feel will maximize equity. And ultimately, you want to get the best outcome. You're going to say, great. So can I share with you the exact process that we'll use to get you that outcome? And whatever you decide to do, I support you 100%, and then go through it, right? You're going to say, if we get your house in the market, these are the steps we're skipping, and this is why it's important to you. So you're going to say, what is the hold rate of your home every day? Like $300, $400, $500, right? And you're going to say, all right, let's make this into a business decision. If we're able to do these three things, or these two things, essentially, this is how much longer it would take, and essentially this is what the holding costs will be. Do you believe that having these things and going through this and collecting feedback, building up demands, having a big launch similar to Apple and Tesla and Google and like a movie, right? And taking advantage of the research that these companies have already spent millions of dollars doing will ultimately benefit you. If somebody says no, do what they want to do and just tell them, like, here are the risks of this as well. And I would write it to them in an email, and then I would go forward. Right? And has anyone shared with you the cost of getting it wrong? And by the way, all of you, how many people have listings that are just sitting around doing nothing? A few of us. Look at buy downs for interest rates versus price reductions. A 3% price reduction is not going to do anything. You need at least 5 to 7. 3 points spent towards a buy down will get somebody's rate down significantly. All right, so let's just think about it, why it matters, right? It's really simple. Pre-marketing is introducing a property to a select audience. It's gathering feedback and building momentum, right? Why does it really matter? Because some people need to go through the process, not an event, of understanding overpricing, and other people that were smart, right? If I was selling my own home, do you know what I would do? I would get an appraisal, or I would get my broker's opinion. I would list 5% under that price, and I would build the hell out of my demand through all phases. And I'd launch the same way we're talking about in the end. So we have nice PDFs that we can send you that will show you here are the 9 reasons that people choose to go private exclusive, right? there's another one that says the 9 direct benefits. Now, why are we creating all these worksheets for you? Because remember we talked about perceived value, actualized value. The gap is in the visual, the words, and everything else. So we realized to be the best partner to you that we needed to create visuals paired with a process that did all the talking for you, right? Now we'll show you how to use them. So if you can understand the benefits, right, effectively communicate the benefits and have like a clear plan of action, right? This is where I would invest money into my own designer to build out a really awesome visual. We can't build this out for you because everyone in every market has their own touch on doing things. There's too much customability here. And then I would show them the visual, right? And for people like Rachel who have clients that can't get out of their own way, you show them the visual of the 3-phase marketing. You show them the visual of just launching on the MLS. That does the sale for you and say, which one do you think will help maximize the equity of your home and why? They will sell themselves on it. You don't need to do anything. So we need to help our clients understand. We don't need to lecture them anymore. So when somebody's reading all the words on the page and then you ask them which ones resonate with you most and why, they're going to self-identify. Everyone write that word down, self-identify. Now, self-identification is arguably outside of the Med-C, the single most important thing in a sales process. Because self-identification allows us as agents to understand what's most important to the client. And that's the only thing we talk about, right? So this is what the client wants. And if we don't use self-identification, what we offer is like this. If they want these 3 things, we offer these things, it's a straight line. And at the end of the line, it says, all right, these are the 3 things I want. Rachel showed me in an excellent way and made me understand exactly how these will show up in my life, help me reach my goals. The investment for her services is blank %. Great. Like I should do it, right? If you start taking these things out by adding in more, offering less, confusing the client, then they start thinking, well, they have 6 things. I only need 3. Let me cut their commission. Or they just offer too much. This is overwhelming. I don't think this makes sense. Don't talk about more than what they want to talk about. What they want to talk about is how they're going to buy with you, right? So look, here's a pre-marketing script. Would you agree that homes with the greatest buyer demand get the best price? Yes. Would it be if I showed you the exact 3-step process to achieve that? Now, you can just slide over the 9 reasons or 9 benefits. You ask them the questions. Which one of these will resonates with you helping? Which one of these will resonate with you the most in helping you reach your goal to maximize your equity? Take a moment and read these over and just sit there quietly. You could sit there for 3, 4, 5 minutes because people read all of them. You could see if they brush over them, but their behavior and the way that they respond to what you give them will tell you a lot about where they are in the process and if they're actively engaged or they even care what you have to say. On a listing appointment, you'd be, would it be if I shared with you the 9 benefits of pre-marketing? Take a look at the 9 reasons and tell me which ones resonates with you. That's it. You slide it over. What is a private exclusive, right? An opportunity to strategically start an opportunity to start our marketing campaign strategically and build momentum. Would it be okay if I shared with you the benefits? Share the benefits and let them see what it is. The next one is the difference, right? Can we do a coming soon and a private exclusive? Absolutely. Private exclusives allows us to test the market, gather feedback in a controlled environment with only your Compass colleagues. Compass coming soon is an enhanced digital marketing campaign to the general public and agents, right? How do you think this strategy will impact maximizing the equity of your home? So do you guys want me to tell you the secret to marketing that nobody's talking about? Like literally the secret.
Yes.
How much of your presentation do you focus on what marketing you're going to do for consumers? Like in the marketing plan by percentages. Most of it, correct? So the question is did you know that 90% of properties are co-broked, meaning they're sold with 2 agents? And so this is the only time I'm going to recommend you printing something because like great part about sales is the presentation and making it show and an experience versus lecturing. I would print out every property in the last 12 to 24 months, depending on how many comparable sales there are. And I would highlight in green, right? Because green is money, right? How many properties were sold with 2 agents? Then I'd highlight in red because that's danger. How many agents were sold with 1 agent? And you're going to say, take a look at these and tell me what you noticed. And they're going to be like, I don't get it. Do you realize that most of the properties, if not all of them, were in green, meaning they were worked with 2 different agents? The ones in reds are sold by a single agent. So can we agree that agent to agent marketing is more important than marketing directly to consumers, because agents are the ones that have the buyers and they're going to say yes. So that's when we can use the network tool, agent finder, going back 12 to 24 months in your MLS and marketing and calling agents, right? Some people for a larger listing appointments are literally going up and say, here's like, if you have the network tool, we have one great agent in New York City. He goes, I already have the next buyer for your home. He's like, I'm going to call, email, and text this group of people who sold in the building over the last 12 to 24 months. Listing agents and buyers agents. Is that a very different way than most people are pitching today?
Yes.
100%, right? So what's the difference? We've highlighted the difference, right? The money's in the question. Do you feel a multiple launch strategy will help maximize the equity in your home? Of course it will. So here is Chirag's way of doing this. Let's get a price that will cause the home to sell. Like a price that you know that as soon as it went on the market would generate multiple interest and multiple demands. I'd launch it once in private exclusive. Now, you're going to want to like go to our client event playbook and use the vendor email, because you're going to want to create events, whether it's lifestyle photography, Instagram shorts, food and drinks always work well. Like people have been really creative in the way that they've been doing like little events there. And I would gather people. Now, here's the thing. The stupidest statement in the world that I've ever heard in my entire life of real estate is people that call each other and say, do you have feedback? I was 23, naive, and I'm a very pragmatic person. So somebody called me after my first real estate showing and said, Chirag, do you have any feedback for my client? And my answer was really raw and direct. I'm like, I'm really sorry. This is the first home I've ever showed. Like, feedback on what? I don't understand. So when we're talking about feedback, write these words down: purpose, outcome, next step. Purpose, outcome, next step. You need to be clear first on your client. What are you measuring feedback on? Now, these are all the things that they can control, right? They control price, condition, the finishes they have in the home, staging, organizing. Those are really the 5 main things that you can get feedback on, right? So you're going to align with your client. Here's the purpose of feedback. We're going to measure these 1, 2, or 3 different things. The outcome is to get a clear understanding with our colleagues in a controlled environment. If we've, write this down too, positioned our house to maximize demand and equity, that we've positioned our house to maximize equity and demand, or demand and equity, right? And the next step, we're going to make the necessary adjustments before we go to Compass Coming Soon, right? So now if your colleagues, people get pissed at me for saying this, but you guys work for your clients. Anyone that wants to show the property, let them show it once. My client wants to make an offer, great. This is exactly what I would say verbatim. Chad, my client has not indicated whether they will or will not go on the MLS. Happy to present your offer. You know what that does to Chad and his client? Like, you better pay more. They don't know if they're going to do it. Like, we already had a lot of people there. Psychological safety goes down. Emotional buying goes up. Make the adjustments, going to Compass Coming Soon. I would be pounding the phone through calls, texts, emails, marketing directly to agents. I'd run my digital ad from a Friday to a Monday. Same thing during that period. One showing. I'm not sure if my client will or will not go on the MLS. Monday, launch the property and then do an open house. 30 to 45 minutes before, I would door knock the entire neighborhood. I'd use hangers and I'd invite everyone. Hey, have you ever wondered what the inside of the home at 123 Main Street looks like? We're having a private neighbors event 30 minutes before the open house. We've got some food and drinks. If you live in a neighborhood and there's an open house, do you go and see it? I do. And I think most people do too. So now if you've done this correctly, by the time you've launched, you have a whole bunch of neighbors in there, agents, buyers, people, because most people don't come during the week because they have to work. And depending on the time of year and daylight savings and a variety of other factors, it's dark. So people come on the weekend when they could take their time. But when they see all of these people in there, because remember, the price that you position the home in the beginning was one that was appealing to the people. Make sense? So here's some chat GPT prompts, right? that you can use for marketing. These are in the deck. This is a sample email of what you'll get out of it. And we're going to go more deep into this. And look, this is all about feedback, what we've talked about. Measure what matters, be specific what you want feedback on. And the most important thing is aligning with the client before anything happens, what you're going to do with feedback. Because if you tell them you're going to go have feedback and then you start taking them and through the process and they're like, all right, so we're going to change this, they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. I didn't agree to this. Why are you pressuring me? It's because you didn't go through, here's the purpose of the feedback, here's the outcome we're looking for, and here's the next step we align. The sole purpose of data is to make future decisions off of it. I would tell your clients that too. The entire purpose of feedback is so we can make future decisions off of it that will maximize the equity in your home. Remember that destination that we're tying into, right? You guys should be experts on this, but ask the right questions, the Med C, present your services through their lens, and always feel that what you offer is aligned with their goals. And as they say in Disney, that's all, folks, for today. So we have a few minutes for questions. By the way, all right, I have nothing to do with this company. I'm not an affiliate or anything, but this is arguably the greatest thing I've ever had in my life. It's called NeuroGum, right? So NeuroGum was originally on Shark Tank. They did not get any money. Joe Rogan randomly on his podcast is like, I chew these things like crazy, and the thing blew up. And then Dr. Oz talked about it on his show. It's like all natural and stuff. It's like has a little bit of caffeine, L-theanine, and some other ingredients. But I don't know how this does this, but we bought a pack of this gum in our house. And you know who the first person that took this was? My 11-year-old son. So he goes, Daddy, I took the gum. And I'm like, really? What happened? He's like, it was crazy. He's like, I had so much energy. And he goes, I had initiative to do all the things I normally don't want to do. Now every morning I'm like, take the gum, take the gum, take the gum, right? So just type in NeuroGum, right? Buy it directly from the website. They have good deals on there, and you can take up to 4 pieces a day, but it's something when you take it for whatever reason, like you don't have any brain fog, you think really clearly. It's like the Matrix, I feel everything slows down. So, and it's good for your brain. So if Dr. Oz, when Joe Rogan said it, I'm like, all right, well, maybe this is like this. But when Dr. Oz talked about it, I was like, okay, this is new, legit. Yeah, Neuro, Neuro gum. Yep. All right, Sharon, you got a question?
Yes, you mentioned the 3 things for feedback were purpose, outcome, next step. You said purpose of the purpose. Can you repeat what those mean? Purpose, outcome, next step.
The purpose of it is to gather valuable feedback on either price, condition, finishes. I got it right here. Price, condition, finishes, staging, and how well the home is organized. The outcome is that we're able to take the feedback and most effectively position your home to maximize equity and demand, or demand and equity. And the next step is we're going to go through this process. We're going to align on what we're going to measure. And then before we go to Compass Private Exclusives coming soon, we're going to make any necessary adjustments that we align on to keep driving demand and the opportunity to maximize your equity. And shoot me a message when you try your NeuroGum. All right, everybody. I'm going to transfer it over to Martha. Yes, I will make you the co-host. And look, stay on, enjoy your colleagues, enjoy practicing and implementing what you learned. And remember, the magic is in the practice. That's where all of this stuff actually happens. You can listen to me blue in the face. I tell people the biggest misconceptions adults have in learning is associating, I've heard this before, to I've mastered and I know how to do. And if you think that's not true, think about how many times you tell your kids the same things over and over and over again, how long it takes them to figure it out. As adults, something happens or a very similar thing happens, right? We can tell you these things over and over and over again. But look, the reality is you have busy businesses, busy lives, you have clients, you have all of these different things. And the only way that you're going to have confidence in trying something new and like working out past that little monkey that's running around your brain, don't do it, don't do it. It's going to go bad. Stay the same. We've already been doing it for this long. It doesn't need to change. It is the practice that's what's giving you confidence. So without further ado, Martha, the floor is yours. Bye, everybody. Love in my heart. Love you all. And I'll see you all very soon.
You're muted.